Now, with that said, I'm going to transition to running a campaign. So far we've done only the analysis. We haven't run any campaign. Now, there are three use cases that we support here. One is the use case where we are doing just nurture, so you upload a target list of people. The second one is in an ABM use case. Often our customers come to us and say, hey, here is a list of accounts. Find me people in this account that fit the persona. That's the second one. And the third case is the more generic one where we come up with the account list and we find people within that account list. So I'm going to click that. So next, you can mix and match the account segments and personas. And you can have different segments and different personas you want to go after. So for now, I'm just going to go with one. And then hit done selecting. So earlier I mentioned that you can further segment the model or segment whom you're going after. So here we allow you flexibility to target people by various locations. Let's say you're going to do a call-out campaign with ISRs and you want to prep the audience prior to hand, you can do that with locations. Or let's say you have an asset that's targeted towards a particular industry, you can target that industry and then hit done. So at this stage, what happens is that we go based on the account parameters, we figure out all the accounts, and then we figure out everybody who works in that account. We then put it through our persona model, which then helps us identify who are the specific people in those accounts. And once we figure that out, we then identify them on various channels, Facebook, Twitter, Google AdWords being the initial ones. Of course, we'll also give you that email address and phone number if that's what you want.
So, this just blows my mind. How do you find people on Facebook and Twitter and on Google AdWords? I mean, how is that possible?
Yep. So we do it using multiple mechanisms. One mechanism is by identifying the Twitter handle. So for instance, we know that Venkat Nagaswamy, who's me, works at Mariana, used to work at Juniper, McKinsey, GE, and so on. He has interest in marketing, he has interest in deep learning, machine learning, and so on and so forth. We can then look at the social graph on Twitter and look at the followers and following to then see if there are similar patterns that we see with the data that we have. So that's one mechanism with which we do it. The other mechanisms are because we have information about Venkat Nagaswamy and where he's worked, we can infer potential work emails for Venkat in various places. Using that data, we can then map it, and based on the data that we have gathered, we can then map it to a personal profile of these individuals. So those are the mechanisms with which we find the audience on Facebook, Twitter, and Google AdWords. Of course, we can, and one other element is also using interests that these various platforms allow you, using the interest to map the model that we've created to the to the targeting mechanisms that they allow you to target with, and that's another mechanism that we use to target people on these various platforms. Okay.
Interesting.
So.
And what about, as far as my more enterprise clients, I don't know if they're on Facebook. Do you think that Facebook and Twitter is a good way to engage this type of audience? What's your accuracy, or what are you finding?
Yeah. So, pretty much everybody, with the exception of me, has a Facebook account. So even if, irrespective of which audience you're going after, they are on Facebook. The question is whether, the key question becomes whether how you can find them. That's number one. The second piece is that based on the campaigns that we have run, we have shown that as long as the content that you're providing people is effective and people want to engage with it, then people do want to consume the content even on Facebook. So for instance, MemSQL is a customer of ours, and they are targeting people with something as geeky as saying how to set up data pipelines for data analysis or something to that effect. Even with that, people are are consuming their content on Facebook, and because it's relevant for the target audience that we're going after, at the end of the day, Facebook has evolved into a place where people use it as a way to consume content and not just as a way to interact with your with your friends. Okay, does that answer your question, Liz, with respect to Facebook?
Yeah, that's really interesting. Something to think about.
Absolutely. Okay, so once you so at this stage you then come to the platform and then you can write your ad for Facebook. You can put the image. You can put the landing page that you want to send people to and call to action. Similarly, you can create a Twitter ad. You can create Google AdWords ad. And essentially what happens at this stage is that using our various mechanisms, we find the audience, create the audience, upload the assets, and the campaign starts running. And that's essentially what happens. And of course, you can target multiple ads to the same person, and so that the respective platform can then make a decision on various changes, if you will, or various formats, so we can figure out which one, do an A/B test, and figure out which ads work and which ads don't. So that's basically the overall software. We help you identify which company, who within the company, and then allow you a platform to run campaigns targeting these folks.
Interesting. So just to clarify, so it's individuals you're targeting, not general audiences?
Exactly. So because we are looking at the specific, so what we do is we identify the specific companies, we identify the specific people, and then find those specific individuals on these various channels through the mechanisms that we talked about. So we are not going after a broad collection of anonymous individuals, which is what you would be able to do in a cookie-based approach, but we are actually going after a specific individual. And because we are going after a specific individual, we can surround them with various forms of marketing. As we were saying earlier, we today do Facebook, Google AdWords, and Twitter. Soon we're going to be we're actually in fact trialing for Mariana ourselves, banner ads, and over time would be adding hopefully LinkedIn and other channels as well. It's not, as you know, as a marketer, it's not about one channel or the other. It is how do we stitch these different channels together to influence people in a way that 1 + 1 becomes 5 kind of thing.
Wow, that's exactly what we need. It's really hard to integrate the channels as far as targeting with this group of accounts we're trying to go after.
Yep.
I just have another question as far as ad spend. How much do you recommend spending as far as a budget, and how do you handle that?
Yep. So the costs for the media are borne by you, of course. What happens here is in the software itself, you can set the budget and manage it. We also have a team of 25% of Mariana is focused on customer success, and the team will help you manage the budgets and help you think through what kind of ads you want to place and what you want to say and so on and so forth. Now, in terms of loose thumb rules, based on what we have seen so far, to target up to, let's say, to target up to 10,000 people, or to target 10,000 people, we've seen about $500 to $750 is what you need per month to target up to 10,000 people. And depending on the audience that you have, that can be a higher number or a smaller number.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, good to know. And then what type of results are your clients seeing? Just to kind of get an idea as far as, what are, CTRs or
Yep.
What type of results?
Yep, absolutely. So when it comes to Facebook, typically our customers see, 80% of what we do, our customers see anywhere from 0.3% to 1.5% click-through rates. In some cases, people do much better than that. In some cases, it's slightly worse than that. This contrasts to what you would get on a banner ad at a 0.1% click-through. content ads on social work really well because they're informative and as long as it's relevant to the customers, it's very it works extremely well. So those are some of the ranges that we've seen in Facebook. Now Google AdWords, we have shown that the cost per click for our customers is we reduce the cost per click by about 50% simply because you're targeting only the people that you want. Even though you're paying the same CPC, the form fill rates that people get is much higher because they're targeting, because the clicks that they're getting is only from the target audience they're looking for.
Wow, that's amazing. That's perfect because we've been seeing, high CPCs and it's become pretty ineffective channel for us. But if we could save 50% and redirect that budget elsewhere, I mean, sign me up. Send me the contract.
Yep. Here you go. Woo!